Hey everybody, I'm doing a video because I'm going to be doing a series of videos because I'm doing yet another DNA test. Okay, so I'm moving slightly here, sorry. I'm doing a test with a different company from any company I've seen before. They're based in Salt Lake, so heaven knows it's probably owned by a Latter-day Saint, but it's not, I don't know. I'm not sure whether it's heavily affiliated with the ability to add a tree, but what it purports to do is to be able to go back with haplogroups for a long, long time and to show you your distant ancestors' migratory patterns. And um, and that's really kind of cool. So I thought, all right, this would be great because the thing is this, Ancestry DNA just came out with their Everybody's Scottish update, which is like the most annoying thing in the world. And mine, of course, like super hyper spiked because I'm, Irish and Scottish and Welsh and English and that a little bit of France that is Brittany, and oh, I think if there's a little Swedish or something mixed in there, and maybe a little Norwegian and stuff like that in terms of DNA that I've seen before. But I know from my family records, and they are verified family records. It is correct research that as recently as the 17th century, I had ancestors coming over to form New Amsterdam in the colony that became New York. I have, in terms of DNA, in terms of ancestry and every place else, absolutely no Dutch ancestry, which makes no sense because there are no cuts, there are no illegitimacies or anything like that to sort of sever that. So that doesn't make any sense. And then I've got German on both my mom's side and my dad's side. I mean, my grandmother's my grandmother's maiden name was German, and everybody seemed to have come over during, well, one family came over in time for the guy, I guess the son of the guy who came over to be a loyalist, my only loyalist ancestor. Everybody else seemed to have come over with a Palatine sort of flood out of Germany into the colonial South and into Pennsylvania. And so I don't really understand why it is, but I have absolutely no German DNA in terms of any DNA. Now, part of that is that you have to have reference pools, right? And I don't know whether just like nobody in the Netherlands is taking DNA. I do know that Germans tend to not like the idea of eugenics for obvious reasons. And so they're not super hyper psyched about the whole taking DNA tests kind of thing. So I wanted to try something different. And this kept popping up actually when I was playing word games, like games, Words with Friends and Word Blitz and stuff like that on Facebook. These are two of the games that I play that keep my mind sharp and that help me with research. They actually do. They really do. I'm not goofing. So here it is, and it may be in reverse for you. CRIGenetics. Thank you, Santa Morgan. She just keeps knocking stuff on the floor. I mean, not, yes, we hear you. 14.2 pounds of DNA cat. Anyway, maybe that's why she's being active, because I'm talking DNA. Okay, so here it is. So what it says is you have to register your kit to receive results. So the way that it looks is it has two bottles of like little, I don't know, what do they call them? Vials, two little vials of liquid. It's not gel or jello or jelly or anything like that. It's a liquid, a sloshy liquid. And they have two swabs. And so what you do is you don't eat or drink for an hour. And then you use the swab, which is kind of like a plastic comb sort of deal. And you rub the inside of one side of your mouth for 60 seconds. So I set a timer and I did 60 seconds on one, and then you poke it down all the way down into the vial and you press like that on the end of the swab, and it forces that comb thing off of the end of the swab, And what you're left with, I will dig in my trash for you. This is how much I love you. Jeez Louise. This is what you're left with. See, when you press on that, it pokes out on the other side. See? So that you press on that, boink, and it pokes off the comb. And then that is left in the vial of liquid. You pull the straw thingy out and you throw it out. And then you screw the lid on the vial, and you do that again with the other side. 60 seconds, swabbing just that one cheek. Open the vial, boink, like that, and pop the comb off of it, and then it's there in the liquid. You screw the liquid of the vial shut, the liquid is sealed in, and then you drop those into a little biohazard bag that they have, a Ziploc bag, and the bag itself and each of the 2 vials has a sticker on it that has the number for the, let's see, do I have it here? I guess I don't. I have a kit for my dad too. He doesn't know it yet, but he's doing a test too. And then it's got an alphanumeric code. And then you go to CRIGenetics.com/register. And you go there and you register it with your email and your phone number, whether you're male or female, and then your phone number. Yeah, phone number, email, whether you're male or female, and then your nation where you live. And that's it. Pop it in the box that it came in, because it's already got, if you hear just like destruction in the background, it's sent to Morgan. I'm going to try and ignore it, and I hope that you can too. But you're just going to hear like beeping and squeaking and crashing. It's my life. Anyway, so it comes with a paid postage. And so I folded the box, back together, but the slaps were, and the slaps and the flaps and the slots. I had a long day today. I am really kind of punchy. The flaps in the slots, and then I taped them shut just for, absolute certainty. And I've put it back out in the mail. So it came today or yesterday, and it's going out today. I have no idea how long it's going to take, but today, really, Santa Morgan? Do you hear that? Push pin. Best toy ever. Push pin. And they're cheap, too. Let's see. Today is the 15th. Tuesday the 15th. So that's going to go out with Wednesday's mail. I have no idea how long it's going to take. I think it takes 6 weeks. I'm hoping it actually takes less. I don't know how much advertising they're doing. I got these on a sale with my first paycheck because the sale was a really drastic cut for 2 kits. It was almost 2 kits for the price of 1. And I added mtDNA. And that's another thing that they do that, of course, you can't really do with Ancestry. They added mtDNA for me, and I did not add Y-DNA for my father because I have access to his ftDNA test, which has Y on it. So I don't need to mess with that. But I am missing a link here. My mother died in 1993, and her brother, my uncle, was very kind to take a Y-DNA test that I, for some reason, can't access. Not really sure what that's about. And of course, he's a man. He can't take an mtDNA. So, and I do not speak to my sister, so I can't get her to. So the only person for me to do this particular thing is me. If testing hair or something like that got cheaper, I do have envelopes that my mother licked, and the envelope glue, and I would be able to get that tested. But I even have some stuff of her mother's, but I don't really have access to that because that's thousands of dollars for a single test. So for a couple $100, you can go to CRIgenetics and you can get some form of a sale. And what does it say? Alexei Fedorov, PhD, is the Chief Scientific Officer for CRIgenetics. And if you have any questions, they have a, let's see, okay, they have a phone number, and their phone number is 800-571-9216. And you can also get hold of them at support@crigenetics.com. And a friendly representative will be happy to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there's always that, right? I'd really be interested to see others, if you have the money, if you have the disposable income, do this test, and for us to compare notes with one another and maybe even talk about it in a podcast episode about how did this go? How did this go for you versus other tests? How did this go for me versus other tests? In what way was I illuminated? Because there are big gaps in my dad's family really relatively recently. Like we're talking about, for white folks, this is recent, sort of early 19th century. Everybody's named Williams and Byrd all of a sudden. Yay! Not like there are enough of those. And so the lines that I come from disappear into dust. I'd really like to be able to use this test to establish something that hasn't been established before. That establishes where in Scotland my Scottish people came from, where in Ireland my Irish people came from, where in Germany my German people came from. That's a big one for me. And the biggest is, I think, where in the Netherlands my Dutch people came from, how those all dovetailed, and what those migrations were, because they're supposed to be able to take this back to, Africa. I mean, they're supposed to be able to really take it back. The other thing that it says here, I just noticed, once you complete the steps on the back of this pamphlet and send us your DNA sample, wait 6 to 8 weeks for your reports to arrive. We'll send you email updates so you'll know what we're doing at every step along the way. There's also tied to this a health component. I'm not as concerned about that necessarily, but you can get health reports that tell you things like what sort of diet you should be eating, what mineral and vitamin deficiencies you might end up having, all different kinds of things based on, I guess, blood type. I'm not even really sure. I'm not a scientist. That's not my thing. So this is really cool. So this is what the inside of it looks like. So you can see what to do, or you can see backwards what it is that you're supposed to do. I will check and make sure I post this forwards if I can. And it is CRIgenetics. So I hope that this is just the first in a series of videos that keeps you updated on what it is that I'm getting. And eventually a blog post or a podcast episode about whether or not it's worth it. I made money enough in a paycheck to be able to spend on this. It's not a usual thing for me. I can't usually afford to buy much of anything. So I'd like to be able to share the wealth and help other people decide whether or not this is worth them doing, and to find out what kinds of reference pools they have. Is this a good test for people who are of African descent? I have no idea. What about people who are of Native American or Latin American descent? Don't know. Is it just European? Is it just another white European test? I'm not sure. What about people who are Asian? Middle Eastern? Dunno. So I'm just going to see what happens. And I will keep you posted. And thanks for watching. And have a great, have a great Wednesday. Have a great hump day. That's it, because it's going to be that. And it's beautiful, cooling weather here because it's coming into autumn. My favorite time of year, time to make pumpkin soup and things like that. And I hope that you're enjoying the weather where you are. Thinking about all of you who are facing fires right now. And stay healthy, stay well, stay safe. Okay?